From psychologist to daytime icon, Dr. Phil's booming voice and tough love approach resonated with millions. But behind the stage lights, a shadow lurked. Sadly, new shocking details have been revealed. Was it the weight of the troubled souls he tried to help, or something far more personal? Well, we're about to find out. Join us as we delve into the enigmatic life of Dr. Phil and the shocking end that silenced his signature, "Get off my stage forever."
I'm not trying to be
And
inappropriate. I'm just laughing.
if that's not okay, then you can go out the back door. Either one.
all right.
You take your choice.
You've probably wondered what Dr. Phil was like before he became famous from his daily TV show. Prepare yourselves, because the beginning of his story takes place in the middle of Oklahoma, far away from the world of Hollywood. Picture yourself in Veneta, Oklahoma, where a young Phil McGraw was not offering advice on how to live your life, but rather working as a burger vendor at an A&W gas station. You heard that correctly. The fact that he spent his childhood in the oil fields with his tough-as-nails father developed in him a strong work ethic during his formative years. His entrepreneurial spirit ran deep, and by the time he was 13 years old, he had already mastered the technique of making the ideal patty at the neighborhood Pizza Planet. If you can believe it, think of it as a much more hip alternative to Chuck E. Cheese. However, the narrative of Dr. Phil pertains to more than just burgers and fries. Over the course of his life, his father, a man who had a goal as big as the sky over Texas, had always had the ambition to become a psychologist. Their move to Kansas, where his father was pursuing his degree, was a move that screams supportive family. They packed up their belongings and went there. Quite the motivational statement. Despite the fact that he was always working hard, Phil was not all business. On the football field, where he played linebacker in high school, he channeled the tenacity that he had developed in Oklahoma. Because of his abilities, he was even awarded a scholarship to attend the University of Tulsa with full financial support. The reality of life, however, can take some unforeseen turns, much like a sudden fumble. Phil ultimately earned his degree in psychology from Midwestern State University, demonstrating that his enthusiasm for the field extended beyond simply following in his father's footsteps in the course of his education. Phil, however, was not finished there. His father had a strong desire to learn, and he had the same burning desire. After completing his master's degree, he went on to earn the highest possible degree, which was a doctoral degree in clinical psychology. Is that the title of Dr. Phil? Obtainable with a mix of sweat, devotion, and possibly a few late-night study sessions made possible by coffee from a diner. There was no way that the path from Oklahoma to Oprah's couch could be described as a straight line. It may be hard to believe, but Dr. Phil did not always have a microphone in front of the studio lights the entire time. He was actually working behind the scenes in the insanity that's the world of courtrooms back in the day, which was in the year 1990. Yes, you read that correctly. Dr. Phil is a co-founder of a company called Courtroom Sciences Incorporated, which is essentially a training program for attorneys. In order to provide attorneys with the opportunity to practice their arguments and receive criticism on their courtroom presence, they would construct fake courtrooms. Imagine participating in a practice round before the big game, with the exception that the game itself involves litigation worth millions of dollars and sweaty fingers. This entire idea was so forward-thinking that it even served as the inspiration for the television show Bull. It's quite cool, isn't it? The CSI company Dr. Phil worked for was actually responsible for his big break. Oprah Winfrey, the talk show queen, engaged the services of CSI to prepare her for a significant legal proceeding. Let's just say that Oprah was able to dominate the courtroom with the assistance of Dr. Phil. And what do you think? After that, they developed a strong friendship with one another. Due to the fact that Oprah was obviously impressed by Dr. Phil's knowledge and charisma, she invited him to appear on her show to offer some guidance regarding life and relationships. His straightforward approach and straightforward conversation struck a chord with you all, and you went absolutely crazy for him. Before you knew it, Dr. Phil had become a regular on Oprah's show, where he would visit every Tuesday to win over the hearts of the audience members and possibly resolve any fan-related conflicts. By the year 2002, Dr. Phil had reached the point where he was prepared to take the spotlight. He started his own show, which is called Dr. Phil. This was not your typical discussion program that airs during the day. Real-world problems, ranging from dysfunctional relationships to addiction, were discussed on Dr. Phil's show, which featured audiences from all walks of life. Not only did he not shy away from being tough, but he also provided individuals with genuine tools and techniques that could assist them in getting back on track. The program was such a huge success that it even managed to secure a position among the top 5 talk programs for a period of time. On the other hand, Dr. Phil's main interest lies in assisting others, which goes beyond his ratings and renown. He has established a devoted fan base, which he refers to as the McGraw fam, which is evidence of the beneficial influence he's had on the lives of a great number of people. In 1970, when McGraw was only 20 years old, he tied the knot with Debbie Higgins McCall, who would become his first wife. It was her contention that McGraw was dictatorial and that he would not permit her to take part in the family business. According to her, she was only allowed to perform household activities, and she was given the instruction to start exercising weights in order to increase her bust line. Additionally, McCall asserted that their marriage had been terminated due to infidelity. While McGraw was in the process of annulling his marriage in 1973, he met Robin Jo Jameson and began a relationship with her. In 1976, he married her. The couple has 2 children, Jay McGraw and Jordan McGraw. When it comes to flying single-engine airplanes, McGraw is a private pilot who also possesses an instrument rating. Christianity is his faith. In October of 2003, he established a charitable organization known as the Dr. Phil Foundation. Let's uncover some of Dr. Phil's projects that you might have missed. First up, Stage 29 Productions, which is an entirely different aspect of Dr. Phil that you might not be aware of. The production company was initially established by him and his son Jay in the year 2005. One of their shows, which was dubbed Moochers, was even in the process of being developed. Just imagine Kicked Out with Dr. Phil participating. Isn't that crazy? Although it was never brought to light, it is undeniably a different state of affairs that we can all contemplate. When we talk about wacky ideas, do you remember the show The Dr. Phil House, where therapy meets Big Brother? It's true that that was a thing. It would appear that the neighbors were not lovers of his new endeavor. But hey, he deserves credit for trying something different. To be honest, a few of these efforts ended up being successful. As a spin-off of Dr. Phil, The Doctors, which was hosted by Dr. Travis Stork, was so successful that it even earned a daytime Emmy. Furthermore, he was awarded an Emmy for Outstanding News Program for his work on Daily Mail TV, where he served as an executive producer alongside Jay. It was even possible for him to have a show called House Calls, in which he would go directly into people's homes and confront them with their issues. This is a thought that's interesting, but fleeting. However, hold on, there's more. The brand new media platform known as Merit Street Media has just been introduced by Dr. Phil. You name it, news, true crime, and everything else. The primary program is called Dr. Phil Prime Time, and it features a number of well-known personalities, including Steve Harvey, Nancy Grace, Chris Harrison, and Trinity Broadcasting Network, among others. It's true that Dr. Phil has been quite busy, and not only with his show. Did you know that Dr. Phil is an entrepreneur in the field of telehealth? In other words, he established Doctor On Demand in the year 2012, which is a platform that allows users to schedule virtual appointments with actual medical professionals and therapists, all without leaving the convenience of their own couches. 2014 saw the beginning of this service, which covers a wide range of services, from physical examinations to consultations on mental health. That's what we call innovation. The contributions made by Dr. Phil have also been acknowledged and appreciated. In addition to being honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, he's also been the recipient of induction into the Broadcasting and Cable Hall of Fame. But hold on, there's plenty more. In fact, the American Psychological Association, which is commonly referred to as the APA, recognized him for his efforts to bring issues related to mental health to the forefront for a large audience. Now, the journey wasn't all rosy. A decision was made by the Texas State Board of Examiners of Psychologists on October 21, 1988, stating that McGraw had hired a former patient for part-time temporary employment. The board specifically emphasized a possible failure to provide proper separation between the termination of therapy and the initiation of employment as the reason for the dispute. In response to the problem, the board issued a letter of reprimand and levied administrative penalties. The board also looked into allegations that the patient had made regarding inappropriate contact that had been initiated by McGraw. Nevertheless, the findings of fact document that was produced by the board on October 21, 1988, at the conclusion of its investigation, did not contain any reference to any sort of physical contact under any circumstances. In particular, it stated that the therapeutic and business relationships were the only thing that McGraw had a problem with the board. In June of 1990, the complaint file was closed because McGraw had satisfied all of the requirements that were included in the board's requirements. It was in 2006 when McGraw decided to quit renewing his license to practice psychology in the state of Texas. He has never held a license in the state of California, where his program is recorded. In 2002, the California Board of Psychology came to the conclusion that McGraw did not require a license since his television show focused more on entertainment than it did on psychology. McGraw agreed to a licensing arrangement with CSA Nutraceuticals, a startup business based in Texas in 2003. The purpose of the agreement was to lend McGraw's name and image to a line of nutritional supplements that were sold under the brand name Shape Up. Power bars, meal replacement beverages, and vitamin packets were all included in this category of dietary supplements. The agreement stipulated that a specific percentage of the proceeds from sales would be contributed to the Dr. Phil Foundation. The Dr. Phil Foundation is a nonprofit organization with its headquarters in Dallas that works to solve issues such as the obesity of children. In 2004, CSA Nutraceuticals suspended the manufacturer of the supplements after the Federal Trade Commission opened an investigation into the firm for participating in misleading advertising. A lawsuit was filed against the company in 2004 by 3 clients who were unhappy with the service they received. The lawsuit asserted that the corporation had made statements that were either false or not supported by evidence. In 2006, a settlement that was worth $10.5 million was decided upon and reached its completion. The Making of Dr. Phil is an unofficial biography written by Sophia Dembling and Lisa Gutierrez that was released by John Wiley and Sons in the year 2003. The book includes interviews with McGraw's childhood friends and former classmates, as well as coverage of his personal and professional life, including allegations of abuse and unethical behavior. McGraw was named as a co-defendant in a lawsuit that was filed in 2006 about the disappearance of Natalie Holloway. The complaint also included Paramount and CBS Television as defendants. The lawsuit was filed by Deepak Kalpoe and his brother Satish Kalpoe. They claimed that an interview they conducted with McGraw, which was broadcast in September 2005, was manipulated and later broadcast as being accurate. Because of this, the interview portrays Deepak Kalpoe and Satish Kalpoe as engaging in criminal activity against Natalie Holloway, which constitutes defamation. The legal action that had been brought against McGraw and CBS was dropped in March 17, 2015. According to the documents filed with the court, the lawsuit filed by Deepak and Satish Kalpoe was initially dismissed 1 week prior to the scheduled start of the civil trial. An additional disputed issue was brought to light in January of 2008, when McGraw paid a visit to the pop singer Britney Spears while she was in the hospital. The visit by McGraw was met with criticism from the Spears family, as well as others working in the field of mental health. It looked to be a part of an attempt to convince Spears and her parents to take part in an intervention on the television show Dr. Phil. Almost immediately after the visit, McGraw made public statements about Spears' circumstances. According to Lou Taylor, a spokesman for the Spears family, these statements damaged the family's faith in McGraw. During an interview with Today co-host Meredith Vieira, Taylor stated that this is yet another example of a trust being betrayed. Rather than helping the family's situation, the celebrity psychologist caused additional damage. McGraw was backed by Joyce Brothers, a fellow television psychologist, despite the fact that he was attacked for his behavior by a number of specialists working in the field of mental health treatment. It was claimed that a psychologist had filed a complaint with the California Board of Psychology, stating that McGraw had breached doctor-patient privilege by discussing Spears' situation with the media, and had practiced psychology without a license. The complaint was made by the psychologist. In spite of the fact that a copy of the complaint was published in the media, there's no way to determine whether or not it was sent to the Bureau of Police, because the BOP does not divulge such information unless an inquiry is initiated. According to statements made by Martin Greenberg, a former president of the BOP, during an appearance in the Today Show, this occurrence is not an issue that the law covers or would be concerned about. Thomas Riccio, the collector of memorabilia who was responsible for recording the Las Vegas robbery that led to O.J. Simpson's incarceration, filed a lawsuit against McGraw later that year. As a result of an interview that Riccio gave on the Dr. Phil show, which was broadcast on October 8, 2008, Riccio filed a lawsuit against McGraw in the Los Angeles Superior Court, alleging not only defamation, but also other charges. As a result of the judge's determination that the content in question constituted protected speech under the First Amendment, the claims were dismissed. In 2016, McGraw and his wife filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit against American Media Incorporated, a publishing company that owns the National Enquirer and Radar Online, due primarily to their publishing an interview from a former patient who had accused McGraw of sexually assaulting her in the 1980s while under his care. The claims of sexual abuse against McGraw had been made against him for the first time in 2003, and he denied them ever since. In the end, the lawsuit was dismissed on mutually agreeable terms. A group of approximately 12 individuals, both current and past workers of Dr. Phil, made allegations in February 2022 that they'd been subjected to verbal abuse in a workplace that fosters fear, intimidation, and racism. Additionally, 7 current staff have asserted that the guests of the show are frequently subjected to unethical treatment and manipulation. Attorneys for McGraw and Carla Pennington, who was also involved in the production of the show, unequivocally disputed all of the allegations. McGraw received criticism for an interview that was broadcast in 2016 and featured Shelley Duvall, who had previously worked as an actress. The behavior that McGraw displayed toward Duvall was referred to as exploitative and appallingly cruel by Vivian Kubrick, who also advocated for a boycott of the show. Danielle Bregoli, popularly known as Bad Barbie, was a past guest who came on Dr. Phil in 2016. During that occasion, she voiced her disapproval of the practices of Turnabout Ranch, which is a therapeutic horse ranch located in Escalante, Utah, and serves disturbed youngsters. McGraw had previously promoted the facility. Bregoli and Hannah Archuleta, 2 more former guests, filed a lawsuit against McGraw, Viacom, and CBS in 2022, alleging that the organization had recommended to their parents that they send him to Turnabout Ranch. After that, McGraw removed his recommendation of Turnabout Ranch from the Dr. Phil program. Thank you for watching this video, and be sure to like the video and subscribe for more thrilling videos like this one.